going on, guys? Once again, thanks for tuning in to an episode of Chasing Tide Adventures. This episode is all about the fish of the year. For me, my personally biggest goal for this year was to catch a saltwater barramundi over 80 centimeters. So over the course of about 3 or 4 different sessions out in the local rivers here, we managed to bang a couple of fish. One of which, I don't know, you might have to find out and figure out for yourself. So the goal for this one is to put this in about 3 chapters, maybe 2, depending on how much footage and how long it lasts and all that sort of stuff. Now I do apologise, the first session there we did have some good footage, but we've had a bit of an SD card issue, so it's all good. We'll roll around that and we'll pretty much get straight into it right about now. Get him, got him. Nice jack, dude. Oh, yes, fish. Yes, fish. Yes, fish. Yes, fish. No, let it go. Oh. Yeah, get it. Oh! Oh, that was an animal, dude. Not? No, it's just broke. That's a filthy jack. That's wet. Got him. Nice. Nice. He's a good one. Oh! Net. Coming. Oh! Oh! No. Okay. Walk him around. That's a stud, man. Yoo-hoo! That is, I'm gonna say 65. $72, man. Hey guys, welcome back to another segment of Talking Tackle with Bales. Today we're going to be talking about how to learn how to pitch undercover and into some snags. Now there's 3 things that I like to use or basically like to keep in mind when learning to do so. 1 is consistency. Find a routine, make it your own, have a go at it a couple of times. If it doesn't work, move on. Make sure you're trying new things and doing it correctly. 2, find yourself a little bit of elevation. You're generally going to be in a boat when you're pitching under snags like that. You can see there that I've got a bit of a brick wall there that gets me about 300 millimeters off the floor. Find some, there are going to be times where you're going to be above that in your boat, but the idea is that you're giving yourself a little bit more of a realistic situation. And 3, guys, is basically making sure that you're not always standing in the same spot. Make sure you move around, make sure you give yourself an opportunity to find different angles, to find different opportunities to to throw into snags, because there are going to be times where you're not going to have that perfect opportunity to do just to lob one in there. So you really need to make sure that you're versatile with your positioning of your baits, of your cast, whether it be with spin or bait casts, which we're going to talk about in a moment there. So once again, consistency, elevation, and versatility. So making sure you can move around, because you're not always going to be able to find that spot. Enough here, let's get into it. Now, you can start off by using a bucket, a star picket, your dad's old work boots, or your next door neighbour's dog. But realistically, your best option to start off with is something like a bucket. It's about the distance that you'd have to make most of your casts whether you're using a casting rod or a spin rod. Now, first things first, I found it easier to learn to basically hit my marks using a spin rod. It's all up to you. As you progress, you'll probably find that a bait caster will suit your style of fishing more. Now, I've started off, both are 7-foot rods, both have a 1/4 ounce jig head on them, and both have 30-pound fluorocarbon leader. Now, the most important thing with both styles of fishing is consistency. The most important thing that you need to do is get a routine in your cast that you can do cast after cast after cast after cast. Now, it's not going to happen the first 3 times, it's not going to happen probably the first 10 times. You need to experiment and figure out what works for you in the different scenarios that you're faced with. I personally like to have my bail arm up facing towards me before turning it over. I then like to release my bait to be just shorter than the length of the rod. I then like to lower my tip and basically let the weight of the rod, the weight of the jig do the rest. So once again, having my bail arm up towards me before I fold it, having the jig or the weight basically just shorter than the length of the rod, lowering my tip and letting it roll. Now, I'm about probably 5 to 6 meters away here due to the camera perspective, but generally you could be anywhere up to about 10 meters away, if not 12. What you want to do is practice at finding your marks. I like to make sure that I hold onto the bait. All right, and it's that simple. All you're going to do is work on, for a start, hitting the bucket, and then you may want to experiment with trying to, say, hit the left-hand side of the bucket. Now, you'll notice that I've moved. The idea being, every cast that you make is not going to be from that distance there. You have to be able to adapt while still being efficient in your approach. Now, I'm going to put my spin rod down. I'm going to pull out the bait caster. All right, so now that I have my bait caster in hand, it's one of those things that you have to experiment. My rod's 7 foot, medium heavy, pretty fast sort of action through the middle of the tip. So it's one of those things that you have to experiment with, especially with your bait caster. Now, you've got your cast control and sometimes a mag seal on the side. You can also experiment with your drag. Okay, now you put your bait when hitting the clutch or releasing the clutch to basically be falling pretty well using the weight of the bait itself. Once again, I like to have basically a rod's length worth of, okay, and we're just going to, once again, lower the tip. And you can see how effectively you can really and quickly you can find your mark using a bait caster. And just working on that technique, you know, it doesn't necessarily matter if you don't hit the bucket straight away. It may not even get close to the bucket, but what you're doing is keeping that technique the same so that every time you make that cast, eventually you're going to be on the mark.
There you go, guys. So there's a few things that I did when I was learning to cast in those different situations. Now, it's not always going to be that easy, but this sort of stuff gets you as well prepared as you possibly can be so that one day you can hook up to that fish that no one else can get to. Once again, thanks for watching Talking Tackle with Bales. Tight lines. Hope to see you again on the water soon.
Rightio, good morning everybody. Just decided to get off early again. That's right, it's currently, what you currently see, can you? 3:14, 3:18. We're going fishing, decided to get up early again today. Fail.
Decided to get up early again. Shut up, Max Walker. Decided to get up early again today. Got to get up early because of the tide, but pretty keen to get to it. And you. So here with Brad this morning. It's really early. You can see that there's obviously no light at the moment, so we're going to try and beat the sunrise just to a creek around the corner. The tide is really low. So we're going to try our best to make sure that we get there before that, because we've noticed that on a lot of those changes of tides, it can be quite a productive little session. Not a lot of water, lots of fish in it, good chance to hook up to some fish. So we'll see how we go, and we'll get back to you soon. Yeah, I'm hooked up, man, for sure hooked up. Am I recording now?
Yeah.
Say little flatty. Little flat. Little treb, little brim.
Grunner, bro. That's good.
Oh, it's starting to rain. Oh, at least he's off.
Oh, man. One.
I'm gonna have to turn my GoPro off, hide it. Side. That's it. It's a nice fish here, guys. Really nice fish.
Got him. I'm just going to leave you with that there, so that you know, it gives you a bit of a teaser so that you'll come back and watch the next episode. Now I'm hoping to have that out probably next week, perhaps the week after, depending on a few things. I'm really looking forward to the next week. I'm going fishing a couple of times, got a couple of friends and family coming up from Brisbane. Should be really enjoyable. Once again, okay, bait caster set up there, spin set up there. In terms of what you like and what you prefer to do in terms of pitching under snags and that sort of stuff, it's totally up to you. I found it was easier to learn with my spin gear, and now I'm finding it far more efficient to use my bait casting setup. Keep an eye on the Facebook page. I'm going to start uploading old episodes straight to Facebook. That way you guys can keep a bit of an eye out on it as well. Enjoy some older videos and hopefully share it around and enjoy it, you know, on different platforms. So once again, guys, please make sure you hit that like button. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it as always. Every person that subscribes or every person that likes it or enjoys this video is one step closer to the ultimate goal. Please let me know if you do enjoy the slightly longer talking tackle sections, because I can adjust it. Likewise, let me know if if there's any questions you have or you want to know about a bit more here or there. Please let me know. As always, don't do drugs. Do your homework. Be good to your mum. Bales out.